I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, and I'm located in Southgate, Kentucky.
And I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery in Monroe, Washington. And welcome to Wheel Talk.
Hey folks, thanks for listening to Wheel Talk. We would love some more interaction with you all throughout this future episodes, and we would love to hear some listener questions. They may get on the episode.
Yeah, just submit them to wheeltalkpodcast@gmail.com, or you can submit them on our Instagram at wheeltalkpodcast. Thanks.
Yeah.
Test.
I think it's fine.
Okay, we're good.
Test. Okay. Hi.
Hi. I was waiting for you. Normally you start off and you're like, "Hi, Ryan."
Hi, Ryan. I was reading a note. Okay. What? How are you today?
I'm right at the end of my night, so I didn't get a ton of studio stuff done, but it felt like a really long day at work. I did get to unload. I took a break from work during the middle of the day and unloaded a glaze kiln, which was a really good kiln worth. That's
good.
There's some good planters in there. There's some mugs in there, some planter trays, some new berry bowls that came out really nice, which I think are going to go on the shop this weekend if we can turn it around that quickly. And then we made a visit to the hardware store, and I'm drinking my, what you call it, a Dole Whip?
Yeah,
Tiki
it's just
drink?
like the Disney Dole Whip, but boozy.
Yeah, so it's like frozen mango, pineapple juice, rum, and ice cream. Vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, they didn't use pineapples because they had mangoes. So
Yeah, so we used frozen mangoes. It's tasty.
Yeah, that sounds good. So good.
Yeah, so that's my night. How about you?
Well, I have had an eventful day. I am trying to apply for unemployment.
Right.
And seriously, the system is, the lady told me this morning that it's supposed to be able to hold 4,000 calls, and 100,000 people are trying to call unemployment right now.
Holy crap. Is that for the whole state of Washington, or is that, do they not have different calls per county or phones per county or something?
I don't know. I don't even know, but they hired 1,000 extra people this week. And I finally got through to tier 2. There's 3 tiers.
Ooh.
You get to the first one very quickly, and then it puts you on hold usually for an hour to 2 hours, and then you get to tier 2. And then tier 2, yesterday, I got this lady, and she was so nice, and they're all super, super nice.
That's good.
It's just the system's all messed up. And she was like, if I don't see that you've progressed, I will call you back. I'm like, okay.
All right.
And I did not believe she would call me back. And then she freaking called me back, and I was in the shower this morning. And I missed it. And I was so pissed. I'm like, no! If I would have heard it, I would have literally jumped out of the shower. I literally missed, 1,000, $1 billion lottery ticket right there. That's how I feel.
Yeah. She had you at the top of her list for this morning. She was like, top of her list when she gets in the office is call Becca.
Yeah, at least
the
top 20. And I missed it. And what's so frustrating is that had it been any other day, I would have been in bed, so I would have heard it.
You just had to shower. What?
I'm going to get going and get ready and leave my phone on my bed and see that somebody called me, and I was so pissed.
Oh no.
So then I called and I got through again, but was on hold, and then they hung up on me.
So each time you call, do you take off where you were before, so when you call you're in tier 2 now, or do you have to start all over?
Yeah.
Ooh. Damn.
I know. I called the lady this morning. I was like, so somebody called me and I missed it because I was in the shower. And she was like, no. I was like, oh. So that was most of my day. But I got, I'm doing an update, my very first ever internet update on Friday, my birthday, and so I got the kiln loaded.
Are you doing a bunch of one-offs besides, I've seen a lot of your fancy design ones that you've been doing and sharing, but are you doing a bunch of like production colors and then some fancy random colors?
I actually did the fancier colors.
Okay. Which I think those will sell better because they're more one-off and
that's
unpredictable.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because I was like, pretty much anybody, like especially when I do like a flash sale or something, it's all just one color with a white accent.
Right.
And it might be fun to just do like the fun colors that are kind of unpredictable and everything's their own.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what I did. And I did.
The only part is going to suck is if you got to list those individually, but hopefully I'm sure you'll make it short and simple. And
yeah, I have a plan, I think. So I'm going to hopefully group them by color and just do the items by colors and then do variations inside of there.
Okay.
And have each mug that's different be that, but it's in the same, like, yellow, or not yellow, like, copper orange, primary colors, green is the primary color, black is, So I think, but also in Square, you can do a spreadsheet and then import the spreadsheet and they all become items.
Ooh.
And so I was thinking of doing that as well.
Nice.
So that might be a something to do. But anyway, that was mostly my day. There was other things, but
yeah. So when you're on hold with those people, are you at the studio? So you're actually working on some stuff while you're waiting for people to pick up the phone and stuff?
Today I was driving around doing deliveries because I knew that you're going to talk to them for 5 minutes.
That's crazy.
Literally 5 minutes. And so I was like, I just put it on my dash, didn't look at it, and just drove around and did deliveries.
Okay. So you got some stuff done.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, you can. There's a bunch of people out there that are like freaking out. They're like 5 hours wasted. And I'm like, do something else.
It's like, what are you doing? Are you just sitting there waiting for somebody to pick up? Like, come on.
Yeah, like, do something else. Like, yesterday while I was on hold for, like, 4 hours, I worked the whole time. Like, don't be a lazy butt. Okay, what's next?
So, let's do let's read a review, because we've been doing this a little bit lately, and I like it, so.
You read the review, and I'll read the question.
Okay, so this one was from the end of March, from Piper Pottery on Apple Podcasts. The title is "Can't Wait for the Next One!" ! I listened to one episode and already can't wait for the next one to be published. Their candid conversations make you feel as if they're your friends right there in your studio. They talk about all the topics you want to learn about from someone who's been there or just figuring it out too. Thanks for that review. How's it going? That was 5-star.
That was a good one. I also feel like, sometimes I'm like, oh, we talk about so much just random shit at the beginning, but then I'm like, maybe people like it. Maybe people like that we're just blabbing on about our days. I think it's interesting that when we started doing the podcast, like, we just started saying, like, how was your day?
Yeah.
And that just became like a norm.
I think when we were starting, we were trying to figure out a way to have something consistent, but also a little bit different. Because sometimes when you're in casual conversation with random people, you'll just be, hey, how's it going? Good. How are you? Good. And then that's kind of like understood. But it's like, can we do something like that? But we actually talk about what our days are really like, and hopefully it's different week to week. And then I think I proposed, like, what if we talk about what's your one success for the week or something like that, or something you're looking forward to this week.
We never did that.
We never did that. Yeah. So, so this is what we've been sticking to, but
yeah. Okay, I'm going to do the listener question. It says, it's from Doug McAnew. That's DOUG_MCINDOE.
We met up with him in Indianapolis. He was the one that ate with us in Indianapolis.
He was on our 5 Potters podcast.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Okay, so who do you both look up to in pottery? Who's your heroes, and how have they influenced your work?
I'm going to go back to Amelia Stamps.
Oh yeah, you've used
She's
her before. That's
the
good. You're
she's
consistent.
the potter that I look up to. She's local to Kentucky. She's in Lexington, just a couple hours south of me. Her pieces are very like elegant. They're porcelain clay and just very pretty and nice. We have a lot of her stuff, and then just her personality and the way she handles her customers and interacting with them, and she's just like the sweetest person. So I think that's what I really admire about her and who I look up to with her work and her forms and her attention to detail. It's like nothing is unaccounted for with her work.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm like, I feel like it's ever changing, but I really actually look up to Rebecca Graves, who happens to be a really good friend. And because I really appreciate her business, like her business, whatever.
Acumen.
And yeah, and her pieces are very similar to mine, but I just feel like it's someplace that I could be, like I can get there. And then also I would probably say actually also Leanne from Elon
Oh
Pottery.
yeah, she's a great example.
Mostly, and like some part of me is like, Becca, don't choose somebody that's super freaking famous. But then I'm like, but
there's a reason why.
I feel like she is so deserved of the like famousness because she works her freaking butt off, but also she's been so inventive and like her progression over the past like 5 years has been insane.
Yes.
Like I've been following her for a very long time, and just and I know she's been doing pottery for a super long time, but just the like, I don't know, like the growth is absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get her on here.
Yeah, we're
so.
chatting with her a little bit, trying to get some time. She's a busy woman.
She is a busy lady, Leanne.
Yeah.
Okay, and how have they influenced your work?
Are you asking me? I said I just like her attention, Amelia's attention to detail and the.
Oh, you already answered.
No stone unturned
I don't know
with
how
her
they've
work.
Yeah, I don't know how they've influenced my work.
Influenced your
my
work
is...
or the way you look at your business or.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like Rebecca, when I went to her studio for the first time, she basically walked me through the process that I do for hand building now. And like that's what made me figure out how to do the molds and stuff. Also, funny little tidbit, I was talking to my mother, and I can say this because I know she's not going to listen to this, but she was like...
Does she know you have a podcast, at least?
No.
I feel like you... No.
No.
I feel like you mentioned before. She doesn't even know I have a podcast.
She doesn't, so we're trying to see as long as I can go without telling her. So, I don't even know if she has an Instagram or not. I'm not sure. But, she was like, that lady, the Graves lady, she goes, those pieces look a lot like yours. Did you make those when you were there? I was like, no. She's like, are you sure?
That's funny.
Like, no. And so, anyway, I got her a mug from Rebecca for Mother's Day.
Oh, nice.
And... so I think she's really gonna.
This might go out after Mother's Day anyway, so.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Nice. And I think, like, some of those questions for people that aren't like in this medium, I guess. I feel like you say, "Who are your heroes?" People say other folks that are like way out there that like maybe they never meet or they don't know personally. But I feel like in this sense, you kind of get more depth and more content and from people you know or that you've interacted with, to where you can say like, yeah, I really appreciate that person and what they do and what they've taught me and stuff like that.
Totally. Yeah, I definitely think that like my heroes are definitely the closest people to me. Like I would say all of my pottery heroes are all of my best friends that are in pottery.
Yeah.
Including you, Ryan.
Ooh. Oh. Thank you. You too.
Okay, we're moving on. So,
I want to see how that audio comes across. It's going to be great.
oh God.
Oh. All right. Do we want to go into what we're talking about today?
Yes.
What are we talking about? All right. So, the topic for today is the balance of making what you love versus making things that will sell. So, I'm curious how this is relates to the stuff that you've been making recently, because you were kind of in a hand building phase and you were like, I'm all in on hand building. And then recently you were like, oh, I'm kind of back to throwing. I'm kind of curious your feelings in relation to what's going on right now with what you've been making.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that, like, especially right now, it's kind of in a transition, too, because I know that the throwing stuff sells. Like, I know that wine glasses sell, but I don't think I'll ever stop making wine glasses. Because they're, like, I think I'm going to make a name for myself in wine glasses.
Yeah.
But I, like, know that the mugs and the wine glasses sell, and, like, the stuff that I've been doing with hand building, it's so new that I, like, haven't even gotten it into, like, Leavenworth, and Leavenworth's usually, like, kind of like my test market.
Right.
And so it's, like, I don't know if it's going to sell, and I don't want to make a bunch of this stuff if it's not.
Right, you don't want to spend your time.
I mean, I have made a bunch of it, and I know it will sell in... Huh?
I say, yeah, you kind of want to spend your time wisely so that you're, you know...
Yeah, so I, like, want to make sure that it sells, but I think that, yeah, it's interesting making something you love versus making something that you need. Hopefully it's both.
Yeah,
you know?
Hopefully they're not mutually exclusive where you can't be making something that you love that also sells. It's just finding that kind of middle ground. I'm thinking like a Venn diagram of, like, what you love and what customers will buy and, like, what will sell and stuff like that. So it's not like you can have one or the other, but finding a balance between the two. And I like the process of finding items that I'm willing to make or that customers ask about or they're interested in, and, like, finding something that sells well and that I don't mind making. Like the oil bottles have been kind of that item, I think, the last year or so.
Right, they're challenging enough so that it's just, like, fun to make them.
Right.
Yeah, and people love them.
Right. How's your... I wanted to ask about you said Leavenworth was kind of your test market for that stuff. Is it this... Do you have the same customers at Leavenworth that you have with your other sales outside of there?
I don't know, I think so.
Or does that just give you a good number of people to test it on?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it just kind of is like, okay, like... Last year I tested out toothbrush holders, and those were a super flop. And, yeah, I mean, well, also, it's one of those things also, like, this year I'm trying to make a lot more bigger items, because every time I sell, like, a huge bowl in Leavenworth, I get so freaking excited.
Yeah?
I'm like... Yeah, like, that was $100.
Is that just because
like,
it's a single item and the effort that you put into that single item feels like so insignificant compared to the 6 other items you would have to make to get up to that $100 otherwise, or whatever it would be?
Yeah, I think so. And it's also, like, the bigger the item, the more... a lot of the times, the more attachment there is on the customer base level, you know? I think that there's probably 2 different types of people in the seller's world of crafts. Potentially, you can agree or disagree, but since we both sell in person, there's the person that sells that gets a lot of the energy from selling from the reaction of a customer. So, like, when you see somebody go in your booth and they don't even think about it and they grab like 5 wine glasses and they're like, I freaking love these. Like, I want these. I don't even know how much they are, but put them on my tab. You know, like when you get somebody like that, that fuels you a lot. And I would say that fuels every person that sells anything, but it's sometimes like if you're selling something online, it's a delayed reaction. So if you're selling something in person, it's like immediate. And then like, let's say, you know, you're selling something online, they get it. You don't ever see them say, oh my God, this is so freaking cool.
You don't see them open the box and what their reaction is and whether it met their expectations or not. You don't get any of those clues unless they, I guess, submit feedback after the fact and you get to read that.
Right. So I would imagine that if you were going to be an online seller, you would have to be extremely invested in your pieces, like emotionally invested in your pieces, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I may not value my pieces like super high, but when somebody gets a hold of it, I'm like, that has value. But let's say Joe sells his mugs and he takes 15 hours on them and he sells them for $1,000. He's invested emotionally and physically into that piece, and it means a lot to him, you know? Not that it wouldn't mean a lot to you if you're, you know, in a booth, but...
Yeah. Do you feel like your pieces don't sell as well online because it's hard to just capture some of the intricacies of your work that in person can do?
A lot of people say that my pieces they look heavy, which is like pretty much exactly the opposite.
Right. They're very light and thin and well thrown and yeah.
Oh, by the way, side tangent, I got your mug in the mail, and both Val and Andrew, I put it on my like little table, and both Val and Andrew saw it, and they're like, oh my God, and they like grab it and pick it up, and they're like, this is so cool.
Nice.
And I'm like, Val and Andrew are both like my really good friends, but anyway.
Yeah, Becca got a carved mug for her birthday, early birthday.
Yeah, I've never gotten a carved mug from Ryan.
Yeah, the bottom was even carved all around.
It was nice.
Thank you.
So, yeah. So I mean, like, who knows, right? Like,
yeah,
I could be wrong in my assumptions.
It is.
But I would just.
I feel like it is hard though. I'm curious. I think when we talk to some of these online sellers, maybe that would be a question to ask. You know, how do you capture your pieces well enough to where I don't know how to frame that question, but you know,
I'm going to use an example.
Go ahead.
Okay, the East Fork Pottery, amazing, right? Love their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Their glazes are amazing. I got one of their bowls. It's green. I actually have it right there. I thought it was a different color when I ordered it. Lighting was totally different. Not a big issue at all. But lighting was different. And I've felt other pieces from them. This one feels exactly like it should feel. But like the little tiny snack bowls, I was like, these should be really light. And I picked it up and was like, wow, this is so heavy. And it's just, you better have, like, you're going to have like a super stellar product to, it's almost like, it looks so cool online that the minor differences when you get it at home is like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Or the value that you've got out of that piece is probably very upfront before you even get it in the mail because their branding and their social media and their kind of, I guess overall their brand as a whole and the way they handle their business is kind of part of what you're paying for and why you want to buy from them.
So true. And yeah, and like, hey, I have an East Fork Pottery bowl and I love it.
Right.
You know. And you can say, "Hey, I have this," you know. Even if it's not exactly what you expected, but you still love it.
Right. Yeah, I think figuring out a way to talk to online sellers about that kind of aspect of it, because I don't know, it's probably really hard that if you're if there's demand online for your work, there's an audience out there to buy your work, then it's hard to why would you try an in-person sale if you can sell it online? And how do you enhance that experience and that delivery to where they get just as much enjoyment opening a package from you than they would like picking out your mug in a booth that has 50 mugs in it,
Right.
that they get to personally pick that one. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, like those people that send out packages with like all the things inside. Like, like you're lucky if you get a package from me. You're lucky it has a card in there. Like the only way you could figure out if it was from me is by either identifying the pottery,
yeah,
or looking at the shipping label. Oh, this is from Five Lines Pottery. Like, I am not an online seller, so I just put it in a box and let it go. But, like, I've gotten things from people. Even you handwrite a card. Like, you're
Right.
all nice about that. I'm just telling you right now, if anybody's listening to this that ever buys anything from me, you're never going to get a card. Like,
bare bones, you're going to get a well-packaged piece that is not going to break, and you might get a
won't break.
business card.
maybe a sticker.
Have you? I gave you the Wheel Talk stickers, right? Have you?
I should start putting those
I've
in
been
the,
putting those in
the
every single
pieces.
purchase, so we've got at least 60 out there floating around that I've given out. So
Sweet.
probably more.
I know.
than
I
that.
didn't even think about the Wheel Talk ones.
Yeah, I've been giving those out, so I'm taking care of some of it.
Thanks.
Gotta take care of your side.
But like, yeah, like that's part of the experience, right? That's like the whole package.
Right. See, and I guess getting
And
back.
they've got to love that, because if they don't like writing on boxes.
What's that? You said they.
Sorry, you went out, so I didn't know
You
you
said
were
they've
talking.
got to love that, and then I missed the next part.
If they don't like writing on boxes and stuff, like they wouldn't,
Oh.
A lot of people like draw on boxes and all the things.
Yeah. So I guess getting back to the making what you love, I feel like if we're talking in-person shows, if you're making what you love, like for me, I like the back and forth with people as they're handling the pieces, and I'm able to kind of tell a story a little bit, whether they're asking, what is this piece used for, or, oh, that's a yarn bowl, and then I'll tell the story behind it, like, oh yeah, my mother-in-law asked for one of those like 3 years ago, and I started making one, and then she had friends that wanted them, and that kind of part of it. So I guess the loving how that came about and like enjoying the process of making those pieces kind of comes through as I talk with them in person. So I think that just comes from like enjoying what I'm making, and then that comes across as I'm selling it. It's hard to communicate that through online, but I hope that my delivery side of it, that the way I package it and the way that I include, a bag of tea with the mug that you buy, and then like handwriting a card and including, a coupon to come back if you shop again. I hope all those things are kind of like me communicating with you at a show, and like preparing your package and talking to you, and then like thanking you at the end with, handing you your package. So I hope all that comes across through an online purchase just as much as it would in person if I can't talk to you physically. So,
yeah. Do you think that you sell, like, of all the pieces, what's your favorite pieces? Like, what are the
what are the
what's
ones
your
that
favorite
I
thing to
get most
make?
excited about selling, or
like the things that you're the most proud of? Do you sell those the most?
No, the ones I'm most proud of now are the carved pieces, and those are slowly moving. I think they're just so different from the production stuff that I normally make that they're more...
You haven't had a really good season with them out either.
Yeah, I only started selling them back in September, so I only had maybe a good 3 months or so of selling them.
Yeah.
And I hadn't had a good complete selection of them. Like right now, if I were to have them out, I would probably have, 8 or so carved mugs that would be pretty consistent, very well crafted and put together. And, there's not a few like test pieces out there that are not as fully rounded out, I guess, or
Yeah.
so those are the pieces that I'm most happy with when I do sell them.
Yeah.
But I do get enjoyment from like selling bottles because the customers get to pick between the 20 or so that I have out. And the way that I make the bottles, each one is individually their own, because when I throw them, I try not to make them the same. So I throw them all a little bit differently. I try to make sure the neck is the right size so that the spout will fit. And then when they pick it, the color is going to be different one to the next. And some of them are going to have dimples for their hand to fit. Some of them are looking for the rib texture so they can grab onto it. The faceted foot on some of them. So it's very 1-to-1, one bottle to one person.
Yeah.
Like they're very unique for each person. So I think that brings me joy when they get to find the one that they really like.
Yeah.
What about you? Are there pieces besides the bigger bowls and stuff like that you enjoy the most being able to sell? Or
I found last year, okay, so for some people that don't know, I used to sell word mugs. They're these mugs that have badges on them and they have funny phrases and stuff, and I freaking hated them. And I sold a buttload of them, but I still hated them. And I stopped making them because I hated them. And when I stopped making them, I started making regular mugs with like really fun glazes, which still, glazing isn't fun, but the outcome is really a lot of fun. And then wine glasses, same thing with like a lot of different fun glazes. And I noticed that, well, there's two things. I noticed that I'm a lot more apt to sell the regular mugs. Like beforehand, I wouldn't sell a single regular mug if there was a word mug near it. But now it's like, oh yeah, I love that glaze. That glaze combo is like the shit.
Right.
And like you're talking about it and you're like, yeah, that one came out totally different than I expected it to, all these things. And so people are like a lot more engaging. And then with wine glasses, I love wine glasses.
Yeah.
Not because I love wine, because as you know, my wine glasses are extremely engineered to a specific, like they're specifically made. They have thin rim, they have a thicker base, they have, the thumbprint is very specific and all those things, and like you can put them on grass and they won't fall over, and they're great camping wine glasses. And so I do this whole spiel, and I can talk about it because I really enjoyed the process of designing them. And that seems to resonate with people, which is fine.
Yeah, I feel like those are easier to sell in that aspect when you've got some tools in your belt of how you can tell a story with that piece and how that came about.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And like the failures made it what it is, so it's even easier to talk about it because you're like, yeah, I used to try this or whatever, So, yeah. What was the original question?
Finding a balance between what you love making versus what will sell. Are there things that, besides the word mugs, or pretty much the word mugs is what's sold in the past that you've kind of like...
Yeah, I think that if you hate making something and it sells, stop making it. Find something else that'll sell.
Or find a way that you can adjust it to where maybe you can make it more bearable.
Yeah. Me and Heidi were talking about this, and she was telling me that she made these like square trays like a couple years ago. Heidi, I'm using your story. But and we were talking about how it's so dumb that all the stuff that we hate making the most sells the best. And we're like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? She's like, yeah, I used to make these stupid square trays and they had little gold, like, the gold whatever stuff on it. And she's like, and they sold like hotcakes and I hated them.
Price them up. I don't know. That's one way you could go. You could price it higher so you don't have to make as many. And then when you do sell it, you appreciate the money that you get for it. It's worth it a little bit more.
But you know what? Sometimes there's items where it's not worth it. Like, I've actually had items where if I would have priced them at $40, I would still hate making them. Like, There's no amount of money that would make me like making them more, you know?
Yeah. What was it about the word mugs? Was it the badges and the attachment and stuff like that?
I think it was everything. It was like, that was hard, but people never being satisfied. Oh, do you have this one in pink?
Oh.
Do you have this one? Do you have like this color but a different saying? Oh, do you have this saying but like this word different? And like, no. You know, like, no.
What I have is what I
Like,
have.
What I have is what I have, yeah. And at the end, I was selling just 3 colors of them.
Right.
And I kind of like narrowed it down and it was better, but still, like, if I could make just a generic white mug and put words on it, I think that I would enjoy it. I really loved the words. I love the funny sayings. But the differences in varieties was just such a pain.
Yeah. I hope I don't.
You can't ever catch up.
I hope I don't get to that with my like stamped planters or something like that. Those have not been. I actually we had that restock this past weekend. The main stuff that sold for the planter sale were the stamped ones.
That's good.
And I'm hoping that I don't get into that aspect where they're like, can I get that one in that glaze if I have it at a show or something and I have 20 out? And they're like, do you have one like this with this stamp?
Oh, you will.
So
You will.
we'll see.
You just gotta hold tight and say no.
I'm starting to add a few more colors in there. And, yeah, we'll see how it goes, but...
Maybe the answer to the question is don't find a balance between what you love to make and what sells.
Don't find a balance. What does that mean?
I mean, just don't make what you don't like.
But we also said that what you love making what you love doesn't mean it can't be a good seller for you.
It's true. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you hate making something, why are you even making it? Like, that's just expunge it from the equation. You know?
Yeah. I also was like feeling like over the last few years, I'm never gonna make a berry bowl, and I've been making them lately. They're actually not that bad.
I made some berry bowls.
I like them. Have you made a few?
I made some.
You made a colander,
but I haven't glazed them yet. Yeah, I haven't glazed them yet. I made some plant frogs for a customer, and I was glazing them, and I was like, "This was such a mistake." I was like, I should have never said yes.
Do you not have a bisque frog that you could? You don't have a bisque import frog? You hand built a frog or some frogs?
Oh, it's okay. So confusion on that part. It's not an actual frog. It doesn't look like a frog.
I'm like, why are these people asking for frogs? Okay.
I think, and I'm pulling this totally out of my butt, but I'm pretty sure it's called a frog because it's like a round little orb thing. It's like flat. It's probably 2 inches, and then it comes up to a full like orby shape, so it almost closes in the middle, and then it has holes all the way around it. And I think that it's called a frog because maybe the holes look like a frog, like the little toad.
What? Is it? It sounds like a way to display flowers or something like.
It is. It's like a flower holder. It's like, like the styrofoam that they put in the bottom of planters,
yeah.
Like, and you stick the stems in. It's like that. That's a flower frog, but it's just a really shitty one.
Okay.
This is like, you could also put like a piece of chicken wire over like something. I'm making them so that they go inside of mason jars. It just like holds the flowers in place.
Okay.
And but it's called a flower frog. And
never heard
but
of that.
anyway, it has holes in it, and I had to like dig the holes out with the glaze, and it was horrible.
Yeah, that sounds a little. Yeah, luckily the holes that I'm putting in the berry bowls are big enough that they have not filled with glaze yet, so that's good.
That's good. I think that's the key, right? To make sure that they're just big enough.
Yeah, I was like, if I make berry bowls, they're going to be something that does not have an excess amount of holes because you don't really need that many holes for a berry bowl to function. and the holes are going to be big enough to where it's not going to fill with glaze, and I do not have to wax or like scrub out glaze from those holes so that
I don't
come
even
out
think
fine.
that you need holes on the side of yours. You're like, the holes go really far up.
Yeah, I think the only reason to put holes on the side is if you see it in a cabinet or something, so you know that's what it is. But I mean, that's the function. I see the side holes, that I see the reason why you might want them, unless there's some other function. I don't honestly use berry bowls myself, but aesthetically, I would say if it's in a cabinet and you see it, you would know it's a bowl for berries and not cereal, because it's got holes in the side easily. I feel like you would easily know that's what it is if you didn't know.
I mean, you'd figure it out.
Yeah. Start pouring your cereal and it's all like... But we're getting there. I'm enjoying them. We'll see.
That's good.
I think we're gonna start selling this weekend. We'll see how they sell. Trying to figure out the price for them right now. I think I got an idea. I'm thinking 35.
Yeah.
Maybe 32. I don't know. What do you think?
40.
40?
How big are they?
They're like cereal bowl size.
Like a big cereal bowl or a little?
No, like I don't know, 4 to 5 inches tall and maybe 6 inches across.
That's a big one.
Is that a big cereal bowl?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You should. I always ask Rebecca Graves how much I should price something, and then I subtract like $7. She would say like 45.
I'm thinking 35 on the first batch because they do not have the little cutout in the foot. Because some people were like, "Oh, you should try adding the little cutout so if there's water sitting, it doesn't sit inside the foot." So the first batch will not have that. And then I did start adding the little 3 feet in it so it can drain if it needs to.
Are you adding a plate, or are you just letting them be?
I think I'm going to let them be for now. I don't know that they need a plate. I think if people ask.
Everybody has plates.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure, but I think I'm going to sell them without.
Nice.
But yeah, that's a form that I'm trying to slowly integrate and see how it goes. The other form would be like I'm trying some pour overs, but I need to send some to my brother-in-law for him to try them out, since I don't drink coffee and I don't do drip coffee or know anybody. I could probably find somebody immediate to me here that could try it, but
you could just walk into a coffee shop and be like, "Hey, can you try this out?" And I know you don't know me, so you can give me like your honest opinion.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, just be like, "Hey, I'm giving you this. Can you just try it out? Like, give it to some barista or something like that, and be like, you can have it, but I need to know your honest opinion, even if that means you hate it."
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think getting feedback from people honestly is good. Like
I'm lucky enough to have really honest friends that don't care about hurting.
Yeah,
feelings.
I was going to ship it to them and then say, "Okay, there are 2 different ones here. Tell me the differences between them. What do you like? What do you not like?"
Yeah.
And I don't know how the right way to get that feedback would be, but yeah, for somebody that actually uses something like that, it'd be good to get some honest feedback.
Yeah.
Are there things that you make that you don't use very much, or that you like wouldn't use yourself, but other people buy and whatnot?
Everything? No, I'm kidding. No, maybe. Oh well, I do make pour overs on an occasion. I've never used them. I have also made juicers that I would never use.
How does that work? Did you make that in one piece? Did it last? Mm-hmm. Do you still sell it?
The juicer?
Yeah.
No. Oh, pain in the ass.
I bet.
I did a juicer flash sale though, and I did really good on it. I sold like 30 of them. God.
How do you figure out price in those? I feel like that would be hard. I feel like that would have to be at least $40.
Andrew says that I price things on the amount of I don't want to make it. If I like making it, I don't mind going down on price, but if I like really have no intention of making it again, it's like really expensive.
So how much did you price those?
$25. That was on a flash sale.
Dang. That was a steal for people. Plus, you're only buying one of these things. Like, you're not going to have 8 juicers. Like, you're just going to have one
Right,
juicer.
exactly.
So as long as it functions, then you don't need to buy another juicer. And $25, that's nothing.
One of my like very best customers and one of my friends as well, she texted me one time and she was like, so can I just bring back these juicers that I bought from you? I was like, yeah, that's sure.
She wanted her money back, or did she just
No.
wanted you to
She
give
didn't want
them
her
to
money
you?
back. She's like, I love them. They're great. I just put them in my cabinet and I've never touched it. And so I feel like if I give them back to you, you could maybe sell them or get rid of them somehow, and they would benefit somebody else. And I was like, that's hilarious.
That's like a
love
clay
it.
it forward or something. Like, give it to
Yeah.
somebody. Re-gift it. Would people get upset about
Yeah.
re-gifted pottery that you got? I don't know.
Yeah. Crazy. I think I did resell them. I can't remember.
How did those
Somebody-
how did those teapots with the pour over attached go? Did you like doing that you made? Did you make more of them?
It certainly wasn't my favorite moment in life, but it wasn't terrible. Like, they were easier than I thought they would be, but I thought they were so ugly, and but they seemed to like them.
And that was for a wholesale
But I
order,
thought
right?
the original one was ugly, so it's like
Because you replicated it off of something that they saw
that they had, yeah.
or they had, yeah.
That was one of those ones where they brought it in and I was like, this is terrible. Like, whoever made this did not make this well.
Yeah.
So I redesigned it.
Was it handmade?
But yeah. Huh?
Was it handmade? The one they showed you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from Venezuela. Yeah.
Ooh.
But I mean, more power to them, whoever made them.
We had a question on here that I put as a follow-up related to this. So what would you say when you make what you want but can't sell it? Where do you go from there?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, first, is the reason that you can't sell it because it's crappy? I think you should ask yourself that first.
Is it crappy? My mind goes to, is it, does it function well? Is it something that
function well? Is
people
your
want?
craft well?
Is it,
Yeah,
are you making for what you like, or are you making for what the customer likes? Because, I mean,
Like,
go for
could
it
you
if you
still
want to make
make
stuff just for
something-
you, but
Right. Like, could you still make that same item but tweak it a little bit so that you still enjoy it, but that, but so it's functional for people? Like, and also, I could love, like in college, I loved making little tiny pinch pots, but I didn't trim any of the bottoms. Like, my craft was horrible. Like, it was terrible. And if I was selling that now, I wouldn't want, like me 10 years later, if I sold that and nobody bought it, but I was like, but I love making those. Well, yeah, you love making them, but they look like shit. So don't, like, you can't, if you love making it, and it's not selling, first ask like really critically, why is it not selling? Is it because of your craft, your glazes, your, is it too sharp? Is it, is it just like thrown together? And is it because it's more the process of making it that you like instead of the end result?
do people know
Because
what it is? Do they know how it functions? Do they have a use for
Right.
it? Like, I feel like that is an easy question from a customer point of view. It's like, what would I use this for? Or what is that used for?
Yeah.
And how does that fit in with my daily life or something like that?
Yeah. And then, if you answer all those questions, and there is an actual use for them, your craft is good, all your like glazes are fine and everything like that, and you're still not selling them. I don't know what to tell you. If it was me, I'd be like, take one for the team. Be like, okay, I guess I'm not making these.
What about the price of it? I feel like that could factor in. Maybe you're
that could factor
overvaluing what it is worth, and not to say like your time is less valuable because you like you really love this thing, so you price it higher because you almost don't want it to sell because you're attached to it more, or your emotional attachment to something makes you put a higher price on it, versus like, are you spending too much time on this thing, making it not attainable for customers because it's priced so high? That could be part of it. Or are you willing to drop the price so that you can kind of get your bearings with getting a few sold and getting some feedback and figuring out where to move from there?
Or are you willing to up the quality to match the price? Like, I started making those. Right now, I'm making these really fun, like, postmodern 90s painting mugs where it's like bold, bright colors and they're outlined in black. And when I started making them, I just like took this huge bowl and I just painted it like really sloppy, and I loved it. I loved doing it. And then I went on this journey and I made some, and they were kind of sloppy, and then I sold them at ClayCon West, and they sold, but when they were selling, I was like, oh shit. I was like, that.
You didn't expect it to sell?
I don't know. I think I did, but also I was like, I could do better.
You're talking like, more the mugs, right? Not the tumblers?
Yeah, the mugs. Okay. Yeah. I was like, I could do better at that. And also, I'm like, this is priced at $45 or $60. Like, I could do better. And so since then I have really upped my quality control. Mm-hmm. And now they're at a point where it takes a little bit longer to do them, but I am like 150% confident in the price that I'm putting them at. And if they don't sell, fuck you. I don't care.
What about I think there's something to say about making sure your pieces are in the right market too. Maybe your pieces that you're selling that you really love, maybe they just don't fit with the way that they're being sold. Maybe the show that you're at is not the market for that specific form or work, or
maybe your whole market's like middle-aged moms and you're trying to sell a intricate like $85 mug. Moms don't have time for that or money.
Or I was thinking more of the physical place that you're selling at maybe doesn't attract the right customer that could buy your stuff.
That's true, but I just wanted to like, also it applies to online as well.
Right. Or and the way that you can, build that value on social media these days, you can show the process behind how you go about making it, or tell a story about why you love making this thing and, what it sparks in you when you see the finished piece or something like that, it brings the value to the customer that's going to buy it and makes them want to buy it even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that you can control with making sure you can get something to sell, but there's also some factors outside of your control with, the customers that are seeing your work, and also like figuring out what the customer, seeing it from a customer's perspective of what they're looking for and what they're wanting out of it, and what, how they're going to use it. I feel like I'm pretty good about figuring out how to frame it to a customer with what do I use that for? And I can rattle off a few things, and giving an item multi-functions just makes it so much easier for them to see a way that they can use it.
Yeah. Always try to add liquor into that. If there's something that involves alcohol in the function, you've got a 50% chance higher of selling it. So I'm making these like hand-built cups, like those little ones, Someone's like, what are those used for? And I was like, oh, like kids' cups, liquor cups.
Liquor cups
Like
if you have
alcohol.
kids,
Yeah, alcohol for when you have children. Like juice with alcohol. Or plants, too.
Or plants, You gotta get those plant people.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
I don't know. Did we answer the question?
I think we did. Yeah. Finding. You want to read it one more time? How do you find a balance between making what you love versus making what will sell? And that doesn't mean that they have to be one or the other, but.
That's true. Okay. I'm happy. I'm content.
All right. All right. Thanks for listening, folks, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah. Sounds good. Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Wheel Talk. If you'd like to follow us on Instagram, you could find the podcast at wheeltalkpodcast, or you could find myself at RD Ceramics. That's R's in Ryan, D's in Durban, Ceramics.
Or you can find me at 5 Lines Pottery Studio. That's the number 5. And don't forget, share this with your friends, like us on Instagram, and don't forget to write a review. It helps us an awful lot. Thanks.